I gotta talk about this past Smackdown. I was gonna upload this video yesterday, but I got caught up in a bunch of stuff going on with my car. But I want to talk about it now. This past episode of Smackdown was really, really good, especially the last 20 or 30 minutes or so, because of the final match and the closing angle. So they did this like three-way number one contenders tag match, and the Motor City Machine Guns won. Then the Bloodline come out, and the Machine Guns had won a future title shot against Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, the Gorillas of Destiny, but they wanted to challenge them right then and there. And the idea behind this was they just had this hard match. We're going to be able to mop the floor with them easily. Very heelish thing to do. So the match is accepted, and away we go. So they have this match, right? And first of all, the Motor City Machine Guns against the Gorillas of Destiny, that in and of itself is awesome. But what ends up happening is Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and the surprise appearance of Jey Uso help cost the Bloodline the tag team titles. So the Motor City Machine Guns in week 2 of being in WWE are now the tag team champions. This would have never happened under the reign of Vince McMahon. I don't even see a possibility of Shelly and Sabin being brought in to be anything more than an undercard, feeder team for other bigger tag teams. I don't know how they could have got pushed unless it was a lot of convincing from creative under the Vince regime. But if you look at how Triple H booked NXT, and if you look at how he's been booking the company, smaller guys do get more opportunities. DIY was brought back. Well, Gargano was brought back after being released. A few other small guys got brought back, and the Motor City Machine Guns were signed because they are very hard workers and guys who have been on the tag team scene going all the way back to the mid-2000s. I remember when they were called the Murder City Machine Guns all the way back then. So what ends up happening is the original Bloodline of Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso screw the new Bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Jacob Fatu. Now, this was awesome because Jey Uso got screwed back on Monday, so this is payback. That all makes logical sense. Then, at the end of the night, it ends with Jimmy and Jey Uso after feuding for a little over a year. Remember, this whole thing started at SummerSlam last year when Jimmy screwed Jey out of the Tribal Warfare match with Roman Reigns. So it was, what was it? About 14 months, right? Give or take, almost 15 months. Jimmy and Jey hug. The Usos have reunited. The crowd went nuts. It's a moment that we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was. It's a moment that people went nuts over, and Roman Reigns was in the aisle looking at them just, okay, the original Bloodline. And here's the thing. If the Bloodline angle had not been so successful and had not really started in 2020 with Roman and Jey and Jimmy, then these characters we wouldn't be so emotionally attached to them. One of the problems with AEW that I think Tony Khan has to truly understand is that no matter how many guys get signed to the company, and they're all great athletes, I'm not denying that, and we're getting great matches, and even the biggest AEW hater who's not a complete moron has to acknowledge that the talent roster is stacked over there. The issue is that we don't get enough time to get to know these characters as people, as characters. And it takes time to really get the audience to connect with a character. And a few promos is one way to do it. Vignettes is another way to do it, but it's going to take some time. And I'm saying that because this reunion between Jimmy and Jey, if they did this same storyline back in like 2010 or 11, when the Usos were just an undercard tag team, it wouldn't have mattered. But the fact that they were not only on top, but had that long reign when they were tag team champions and then eventually lost to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and just how crazy that whole thing is, all of that, and leading to, of course, their breakup is why these characters are so popular, why they're over. That's what people care about them. So I remember, and many of you probably do too, that earlier this year, maybe even last year, but I think it was this year, I said that eventually Survivor Series War Games is going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. Now, originally I assumed it was going to be Team Roman against Team Rock, But The Rock may not be involved because The Rock seems to be kind of his own thing. When he made that surprise appearance at the end of the last pay-per-view, I looked at it and thought, okay, well, this is interesting. This is, it's almost like they're teasing a three-way, right? It's almost like they are, but it seems like The Rock is not aligning with either bloodline. And don't forget, WWE also signed Hikuleo, and there's rumors of Rikishi's son also being signed. So there's still more Samoans coming, man. This is a huge, huge family. So what's going to end up happening, and it's clear as day now, Team Roman, the original bloodline, Roman, Jimmy J, and the fourth man, which I'm going to get to in a minute, against Solo, Jacob, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa next month at Survivor Series. And that's a phenomenal main event if you ask me. But besides that, who's going to be the fourth man? Well, it's got to be Sami Zayn. And the story here is going to end up being how the bloodline is going to recruit Sami and get them to trust him. Sami and Jay got along. Sami and Jimmy, Sami and Roman, not so much, especially after Roman ruined his plans of being champion last February when he pinned him. So Sami is the final key to the puzzle because he is a member of the original bloodline. I think people want to see it. I think people want to cheer the original bloodline. I think this is the right way to go. I think it could be Cody, but it looks like Cody and Kevin Owens are probably going to have a match at Survivor Series just for the title. But the main event of the show, Team Roman, again, Roman, the Usos, and Sami, the original bloodline against the new bloodline. And obviously Sami's the key, so it's going to take convincing from Roman, Jimmy, and Jay to get Sami to trust them because, what happened last year and in the year before, that long storyline. This is long-term booking done right. Now I'm not saying Triple H had this whole thing planned out, but it's easy to map this out because I remember saying it a while ago that it looks like with The Rock becoming this super heel, the final boss, that the original plan of Roman and Rock, with Roman being the heel, it looks like that may switch around. And if Rock and Roman have their match, which will probably be at WrestleMania 42, because 41 is probably going to be Cody and Roman, it sounds like if they do the match, Roman will be a super babyface because he is the 1A of the company, or 1B. The two top guys in that company right now on the babyface side is Cody and Roman. So obviously they're going to have a rematch at some point. They're going to have that third match between the two. But it does sound like Roman and Rock is going to happen with Roman being the face. But sounds like for this upcoming WrestleMania, it's probably going to be Roman and Jacob Fatu. Solo would have made sense, but Solo got pinned in the last pay-per-view. So I think Jacob and Roman's a bigger match. And Jacob's got much more of an upside. So I see that happening. But I cannot wait for the old bloodline against the new bloodline. That's going to be one hell of a story. And now we get to cheer them. That's just going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm excited. WWE's not perfect, but with the bloodline stuff, they rarely, I'm not going to say never, but they rarely have missed with it. Definitely one of the greatest angles in company history. You can't deny that. Let's see where it goes. What do you think? Do you think I'm crazy? Nah, you agree. Leave a comment. Let me know.